When British ice skating champions Jane Torvill and Christopher Dean skated into history and the hearts of the world with perfect scores for the gold medal at the Winter Olympics, it was hardly expected they would start their professional careers here in Australia. But Michael Edgley did it again and persuaded them to appear in Australia with his International Ice Spectacular for 9 performances only. But not even the Edgley organisation could foresee the massive public response that has followed since the couple, since their Olympic success, have come here to Australia, and their 9 performances have been extended to 40. Now, rarely do Christopher and Jane agree to do interviews, as I mentioned before, for obvious reasons. But it is interval, or very shortly it's going to be interval, at the Entertainment Centre, and I'm delighted to be able to cross right now backstage and hopefully immediately meet Olympic gold medalists and stars supreme, Jane Torvill and Christopher Dean.
Jane and Christopher, meet Bert Newton.
Jane and Christopher, for a start, that applause, of course, was well met, and certainly we could have had more, but also I felt it may have given you time to catch your breath there just for a couple of seconds.
Just a little bit. I think we needed it then. It's
great to have you on the show, and thanks for doing it. Is it very different now that you're professional? Is the stress any more than when you were amateurs?
The difference is that normally we work for sort of 2 or 3 competitions a year, so we peak at those times, and now we're having to sort of perform every night and give our best every night, which is a slightly different thing, but it's also very enjoyable and very exciting.
The audience is different, considering, I suppose, that Olympic audiences are there for a different reason.
The people that are coming to watch are sort of coming to watch skating as an entertainment and not skating as a sport. And that in itself is different. It has more of an entertainment sort of feel about it.
I'm told by people that right around Australia, the adulation shown both of you is quite extraordinary. Do you ever tire of this? Is it very hard for you to have a private life?
It's difficult sometimes, but I mean, enjoy it whilst we can.
It's so nice that the people are so friendly here, and they come up and speak to us in the street and things, and they're very appreciative in the performances.
Do you still have to rehearse very often together?
Yes.
A lot. We still have to practice, yeah. It's something that you have to keep up. You can't cut down on.
How many hours a day?
Well, as we've been here, we've been a little bit lazy, and we've only got, at the moment, about 2. But we have the show evening. But normally, we expect it to be on about 5 or 6.
Jane, how did you find each other?
Well, we both skated at the same ice rink in Nottingham, and I guess we fell over each other there.
There's nobody else about at the time, so we naturally got together.
How do your families feel about your great success? Firstly to you, Christopher.
I don't know, I haven't seen them that much. I only saw them for a week just before we came here, since before Christmas. And, well, they don't say too much anyway. I mean, I think they're quietly proud in the background.
Do you have brothers and sisters?
No, we're both only children, spoiled brats.
When you do get a break, what are the sort of things that you like to do, Jane?
It's not that often. The things we like to do if we're free is to go and watch other people perform, like in the theatre or go to cinema or something.
And other than that, we sleep.
When you go to something like ice skating, I mean, who can you hold up as your idols? Who can you learn from?
Well, all of the skaters have something to offer, and the same with competitors in the competition. It's quite interesting for us to watch other skaters sometimes.
Christopher, I'm told that you were absolutely amazed, both of you, to find the audiences here in Australia as large as they have been for you, and also as loving as they have been.
I was really surprised. We didn't really have that too many expectations, but as soon as we arrived here, all the Australian people said, well, don't expect too much, you know? But they're fabulous. Every audience, every night that we've skated, they've been capacity audiences, and they've just been over the top. Our best...
Clapping the whole time.
The best audiences we've skated before, anyway.
How many entrances, how many pieces do you do in each show?
6.
6 at the moment.
Routines.
And that would take what span of time?
About 20 minutes, just over 20 minutes skating time.
Does it take you very long after a show to come down, as they say, or do you feel so tired you just go home and go to bed?
We're usually away, can't we, after the show?
You get very...
It takes a couple of hours to relax again.
You're very high and you're very hot, and so it takes, you know, a good 2 hours to calm down after that.
It just seems to somebody like ourselves here in the studio, Australians generally who've watched you during the games and also now have the chance of seeing you in action, that you never appear to make a mistake. Obviously you do. How do you, if you do, how do you hide them?
Oh, we make mistakes. Hopefully we try and do it as many times in practice. But they do happen. And sometimes they're not huge mistakes, but we feel them between us. And that annoys us when we do that. But when you're performing so many times now, that's the thing that we've got to get over so much, is that when you're performing so many times, that obviously the more times you skate, the more chances of doing something wrong. And, well, that's what we're coping with now. This is something new that we've got to get on with.
In any partnership, any relationship, it's impossible not to have disagreements occasionally. If you disagree on something, do you have to put that aside, put completely out of your mind when you perform?
Oh, yes, yeah. If we do disagree on the ice, it's usually forgotten when we come off the ice.
Do you ever disagree during a performance?
No, no, it'd be a disaster.
If you do disagree, what sort of things are they? Minor things?
It's usually about a step or something.
It's usually skating related when we're on the ice. I get angry and Jane doesn't say anything, so that even makes me more angry.
Is it a full partnership or is one of you the boss?
He thinks he's the boss.
But she's guiding me from behind. I think it's, you know, the successful relationship business with the lady making the man feel that he's the boss.
How much longer can you look forward to? I mean, skaters, can they go on ad infinitum?
We hope to carry on as long as we can and as long as we can still skate. I think the minute we sort of see it in our performances that things aren't as good as they used to be or could be, then I think that will be the time that we finish.
Jane, what about those flowers that you receive at the end of each performance? There are just so many of them, so beautiful. What do you do with them?
We try to send them to the hospitals every day, different hospital every day in the city. And I hope that other people can enjoy them, because I couldn't enjoy so many at one time.
I guess you haven't had much chance of really seeing Australia at large, but I suppose also in the sort of reaction you've had from Australians generally, there's every chance you will come back to our country?
Yes, we'd very much like to come back.
I think there's every chance that we'll come back, for sure.
There's one question, and you could almost ask it for me, that I need to ask, because people wouldn't forgive me unless I asked you. Is there any romantic involvement?
Just good friends, aren't we?
Yeah.
That's a well-rehearsed lie.
So was mine. Okay. So just very good friends, and that's it.
That's it.
What about these extra concerts? I'm told that it was your suggestion, Christopher.
Well, as the audiences were here were so good, and apparently they've had a lot of telephone calls, we want to come back to Melbourne on the 26th, 27th and 28th for 3 more shows. But from there, because the audience have been so good, it's encouraged us to stay on, and we're going to Brisbane, Adelaide, Canberra, Townsville and Perth from here. So we're here for a long time yet.
Joan, I'm not too sure what you said about your parents' reaction to your stardom, how they reacted.
Well, they're very proud, but my parents have a newsagent shop, so they're in contact with a lot of people all the time. And my mother sort of has to answer the telephone and speak to people and sort of talk about us all day, so sometimes she gets a little bit tired of all that.
She gets bored of it.
But she is proud.
Are you drinking in every moment? I mean, so that in your later life you can look back at this quite magical time for both of you?
Yeah. There's a lot to take in all the time, but every day brings something new and it makes us happy. Any
ambitions that you haven't fulfilled?
Oh, lots. We'd like to do lots of things.
We have a lot of new ideas for new routines and things that we'd like to do. I think to do something different again will be an ambition.
Yeah, we want to put on a different type of skating show that hasn't been seen before, so that's our big thing that we're going to concentrate as soon as we finish in Australia.
We're so thrilled to doing those extra concerts. We thank the Edgeley organisation for allowing us to bring the cameras in. Particularly, we thank you because we realise any performer, of course, wants to have full concentration whilst they're working, but particularly in a show such as yours, I know how important it is, and we're delighted that you gave us permission. Thank you very much indeed.
Thank you.
Jane Torvill and Christopher Dean. I haven't been lucky enough to see the show as yet, but Peter Feynman, our executive producer, saw it a couple of nights ago. And when you remember that he's seen a lot of shows and also has directed a lot of shows, including the Entertainment Spectacular last year, when you remember that, I think someone like Peter saying that it's one of the best shows he's ever seen really is the highest recommendation. I've got somewhere the extra dates which I'd like to go through for your chance to see these two great young performers. They really are quite magic, I believe. Jane Torvill and Christopher Dean, and they're naturally appearing right throughout Australia. And tickets can be obtained for the Brisbane performances, which take place on June the 5th, 6th and 7th. For the Adelaide performances at Ice Arena on June the 12th, 13th, 14th and 15th. For the Townsville performances on June the 16th and 17th and 18th, June 17th and 18th. And for the Canberra performances on July the 3rd, 4th, 5th and 6th. And Chris and Jane will be returning to Melbourne for two more performances on June the 27th and 28th. And seats go on sale at Bass next Monday morning. Their final season in Australia is in Perth from July the 12th to the 15th. There are 4 shows only, and tickets go on sale from Monday, June the 11th. I'll just give those to you again. No. Please, if you have the opportunity of seeing Jane and Christopher in action, do so, because, as I say, they are sheer magic from what I've been told. We'll take this break, and once again we thank the Edgeley organisation for their kindness this evening. We'll see you soon.